Good evening, dear dreamer, and welcome back to Boring Science for Sleep. Tonight, we are going to explore something very quiet. Something that happens inside your mind every single day, often without you noticing. Before we begin, take a slow breath and let your thoughts settle for a moment. Imagine, if you can, that your mind is like a vast and endless library, a place filled with shelves that stretch farther than the eye can see. On those shelves are millions of tiny stories, moments from your life. A conversation you had yesterday, the smell of rain on a quiet afternoon, the sound of someone laughing in another room. Each experience becomes a kind of memory, carefully written and placed somewhere inside this invisible library. But here is something curious. Not every memory stays on the shelves forever. Some memories remain bright and clear for many years. Others quietly fade, becoming softer, dimmer, until eventually they disappear altogether. And this raises an interesting question. Why does your mind let some memories go? At first, it might seem strange. After all, memories are part of who we are. They are pieces of our past, fragments of our experiences, small records of our lives. So why would the brain ever choose to forget? But as scientists have slowly learned more about the brain, they have discovered something surprising. Forgetting is not a flaw in the mind. In many ways, it is one of the mind's most important abilities. Because if the brain tried to store every single moment of every single day, the library of memory would quickly become impossibly crowded. Every tiny detail, every passing sound, every face glimpsed in a crowd would compete for space and attention. And soon, the mind would struggle to find the memories that truly matter. So instead, the brain does something very quiet and very clever. It gently sorts through experiences. Some memories are strengthened, others are slowly allowed to fade. Connections between certain neurons grow stronger, while others grow weaker. In this way, the brain carefully organizes the stories of your life, keeping the memories that help you learn, letting go of the ones that are no longer needed. And much of this delicate work happens while you sleep. During the night, when the world grows quiet and your body rests, your brain becomes surprisingly active. It begins a kind of silent housekeeping. Some memories are carefully stored away. Others are reshaped, simplified, or softly erased. Not in a dramatic way, but slowly, gently, like pages being reorganized in a very large book. In fact, scientists now believe that forgetting is deeply connected to healthy thinking. Without it, your mind would struggle to focus. Decision-making would become difficult, and creativity itself might suffer. So, the next time you notice a memory slipping away, it may simply be your brain doing its quiet work, sorting through the past, making room for new experiences, and preparing your mind for tomorrow. But before we continue tonight's story, I'm curious about something. Where are you listening from tonight? And what time is it there? Some of you might be listening late at night, with the room dim and quiet. Others might be drifting towards sleep while rain taps softly on the window. Wherever you are in the world, feel free to leave a comment and say hello. Now, let's continue our journey into the quiet and mysterious world of memory and discover why your mind sometimes chooses to let certain memories go. Let us begin by returning to the image of the mind as a quiet and endless library. Inside your head, at this very moment, billions of tiny cells are communicating with one another in delicate electrical whispers. These cells are called neurons, and they form the intricate network that allows your brain to think, feel, imagine, and remember. If the brain is a library, then neurons are like the librarians and the bookshelves at the same time. They hold information, pass it along, and help organize the experiences that shape your life. Each time something happens, something you see, hear, touch, or feel, your brain begins a remarkable process. It transforms that moment into a pattern of tiny signals moving across networks of neurons. This process is known as forming a memory. Imagine walking through a park on a quiet afternoon. The sunlight moves gently through the trees. A breeze passes through the leaves. Perhaps you hear distant laughter or the quiet hum of a city far away. All of these sensations arrive at your brain through your senses. Your eyes send visual signals. Your ears send sounds. Your skin notices the warmth of the sunlight, and your brain begins to weave these signals together into a single experience. That experience becomes a memory, but the brain does not store memories in the way a computer stores files. There is no single place where the entire memory sits. Instead, the memory is spread across many different regions of the brain, like a story told by many voices at once. The colors you saw may be stored in one area, the sounds in another, the emotions you felt somewhere else entirely. What holds these pieces together are connections between neurons called synapses. Synapses are tiny bridges where one neuron communicates with another, and when a new memory forms, these bridges grow stronger. You can imagine it like a small trail forming through a forest. The first time you walk through tall grass, the path is barely visible, but if you walk the same path again and again, the trail becomes clearer. In the same way, when certain neurons communicate frequently, their connections become stronger and easier to follow. This strengthening of connections is one of the foundations of memory. Deep inside the brain sits a small but very important structure called the hippocampus. Its name comes from the Greek words for seahorse, because its curved shape resembles that small ocean creature. The hippocampus plays a crucial role in forming new memories. You can think of it as the librarian who decides where new books should be placed. When something new happens in your life, meeting someone new, learning a new skill, visiting a place for the first time, the hippocampus helps organize that experience so the brain can store it. Without the hippocampus, the brain would struggle to form new long-term memories. In fact, scientists have studied patients with damage to this part of the brain who could still remember events from long ago, but could not create new lasting memories after the injury. It is as if their mental library could no longer add new books. Another fascinating aspect of memory is that it exists in different forms. Some memories are brief and fleeting. Others stay with us for years. Short-term memory is like a small desk where information rests temporarily. For example, when you glance at a phone number and repeat it in your mind for a few seconds, you are using short-term memory. It holds information just long enough for you to use it. But short-term memory is limited. It can only hold a small amount of information at once, and if you stop paying attention, the information quickly fades away. Long-term memory is different. When a memory becomes important when you repeat it, think about it, or attach emotion to it, the brain begins moving it into long-term storage. This process is sometimes called consolidation. During consolidation, the connections between neurons become stronger and more stable. The memory slowly becomes part of the vast network of experiences that shape who you are. Some of these memories remain clear for decades. You may still remember the layout of a childhood home, the sound of a teacher's voice, or the feeling of standing somewhere special for the first time. Other memories fade quietly, becoming less detailed with time. And this too is part of the design of the brain, because the library inside your mind is always changing. New memories are constantly arriving. Old ones are rearranged. Some are strengthened. Others slowly drift away. And as we continue tonight's journey, we will discover that this gentle fading of memories is not a mistake. It is one of the ways your brain keeps the library of your life organized, calm, and ready for the experiences that tomorrow will bring. Now that we've explored the idea of the brain as a quiet library filled with memories, we can take a closer look at how those memories first arrive there. Because before a memory can be stored, it must first be created. Scientists call the first stage of memory formation encoding. Encoding is the moment when an experience begins its transformation into a memory inside your brain. Every second of the day, your senses are collecting enormous amounts of information. Light enters your eyes, sound waves reach your ears, textures brush against your skin, scents drift through the air. Your brain receives all of this information almost instantly, but it cannot keep everything. If it tried, the mind would become overwhelmed with details. So the brain begins by selecting what matters. Only certain parts of an experience are encoded into memory, and this selection process begins almost immediately. Imagine again that you are walking through a park. Your eyes may see hundreds of leaves moving in the wind, but you might only remember the bright red color of a single tree. Your ears might hear distant traffic, birds singing, and footsteps nearby, but perhaps only the laughter of someone walking past becomes part of the memory. In other words, the brain begins shaping a memory by choosing which details deserve attention. Once that choice is made, neurons begin forming patterns of activity. Groups of neurons fire together in specific sequences, creating what scientists sometimes call a neural pattern. This pattern represents the experience. It is not a picture stored in one place. Instead, it is more like a constellation of activity spread across different areas of the brain. Visual parts of the experience activate the visual cortex. Sounds activate auditory regions. Emotions activate other parts of the brain entirely. Together, these regions form a connected network. And when the same network activates again later, the brain experiences that sensation we call remembering. But something interesting happens when emotion enters the picture. Emotions can make memories much stronger. This is where another small but powerful structure in the brain plays a role. It is called the amygdala. The amygdala is deeply involved in emotional processing. It helps your brain decide when something is important, surprising, joyful, frightening, or meaningful. When an event carries strong emotion, the amygdala signals other parts of the brain to pay closer attention. It's almost as if the amygdala quietly whispers, "This moment matters, remember this." And when that happens, the brain strengthens the neural connections associated with the experience. This is why emotional memories often feel vivid. You may clearly remember where you were during an exciting moment, an important conversation, or a surprising event. Emotion adds weight to a memory. It tells the brain that this moment might be important for the future. But not all memories begin as large or dramatic experiences. In fact, many memories start in a much softer and more delicate form known as sensory memory. Sensory memory is extremely brief. It lasts only a fraction of a second, sometimes only a few moments. It acts like a tiny buffer, allowing the brain to briefly hold incoming sensory information before deciding whether to keep it. For example, when you glance quickly at something and then look away, you may still see a faint afterimage in your mind. That is sensory memory at work. Or when someone says a sentence and you understand it as a whole rather than as separate words, sensory memory helps hold the sound long enough for the brain to process it. Most sensory memories disappear almost instantly, but occasionally one of them captures your attention. And when attention enters the picture, the memory moves to the next stage. It begins traveling deeper into the brain's memory systems. The neural patterns become more stable. Connections between neurons strengthen. And slowly, what began as a fleeting sensation becomes something more lasting. But this transformation is not automatic. Many experiences never move beyond the earliest stages of memory. The brain quietly allows them to fade. And as we will soon discover, this ability to let certain memories slip away is not a weakness of the mind. It is part of the brain's careful and intelligent design. Because if every tiny detail stayed forever, the library of your mind would soon become far too crowded. Let us return for a moment to the quiet image of the mind as a vast library, shelves filled with memories, moments carefully placed into the story of your life. But imagine something curious. What would happen if that library tried to keep absolutely everything? Every sound you ever heard, every face you passed on the street, every word spoken around you in a crowded room, every leaf you saw move in the wind. At first, it might seem like a wonderful idea to remember everything. But the truth is something quite different. If the brain attempted to store every moment with perfect detail, the library of the mind would quickly become overwhelming. Not because the brain lacks intelligence, but because even the most powerful biological systems must work within limits. The human brain contains around 86 billion neurons, each connected to thousands of others through tiny communication bridges called synapses. This network is unimaginably complex, and yet it still operates with finite resources. Every memory that forms requires physical change inside the brain. Neurons must adjust their connections. Synapses must strengthen or weaken. New proteins must be built. Electrical activity must travel through networks again and again. All of this takes energy. In fact, your brain, though it represents only a small percentage of your body's weight, consumes a surprisingly large amount of the body's energy. Even when you are resting quietly, the brain remains active. It constantly processes information, regulates the body, and maintains the delicate balance of neural networks. Because of this, storing memories is not free. It comes with a biological cost, and the brain must choose carefully where to spend that energy. Imagine again the library. If every scrap of paper, every small note, every passing thought were kept forever, the shelves would soon collapse under the weight. Important books would become harder to find. Stories would become buried beneath endless details. Instead, a wise librarian does something different. They organize. They sort. They decide which books deserve a permanent place and which notes can quietly disappear. Your brain behaves in a very similar way. It acts as a filter, a system designed not only to store information, but also to ignore, discard, and simplify it. Every moment, your senses collect an enormous amount of information from the world around you. The movement of light, the sounds of distant conversations, the countless shapes and colors within your field of vision. But your conscious mind only experiences a small portion of this flood of information. Most of it fades away almost immediately. This is not a mistake. It is a feature of how the brain protects itself from overload. Imagine if you could perfectly remember every sound you heard today, every car passing outside, every small movement of air, every fragment of conversation from strangers. Your mind would struggle to focus on anything else. Decision-making would become slow and difficult. Learning would become confusing rather than helpful. So the brain quietly chooses. Some experiences are marked as important. Others are allowed to fade. And often, the deciding factor is attention. When you focus on something, when you listen carefully, observe closely, or emotionally engage with an experience, the brain begins strengthening the neural pathways associated with it. But when attention is absent, the brain often allows the memory to dissolve. This is why you may struggle to remember what someone said if you were distracted while they spoke. The experience never fully entered the deeper levels of memory. It remained only briefly in the surface layers of the mind. Another reason memories fade is that the brain continuously reorganizes itself. Neural connections are not permanent structures. They are flexible and dynamic. Connections grow stronger when used often, and when certain connections remain unused for long periods of time, the brain gradually weakens them. Scientists sometimes refer to this process as synaptic pruning. It is a natural way for the brain to refine its networks. Just as a gardener trims branches to help a tree grow stronger, the brain removes unnecessary connections so that important ones can function more efficiently. This process begins very early in life. In childhood, the brain forms an enormous number of neural connections, far more than it will eventually need. As we grow, many of those connections are gradually pruned away. What remains are the pathways that are used most frequently, the skills we practice, the knowledge we revisit, the experiences that shape our understanding of the world. In this way, forgetting becomes a form of learning. It allows the brain to sharpen its focus, to remove unnecessary noise, and to strengthen the patterns that truly matter. There is also another subtle reason why the brain cannot keep every memory forever. Life is constantly changing. The world you experienced years ago is not exactly the same world you live in today. People grow older. Places change. New knowledge replaces old assumptions. If the brain clung too tightly to every memory exactly as it first appeared, it might struggle to adapt. But by allowing some memories to fade, by reshaping others over time, the brain remains flexible. It keeps learning. It continues adjusting to new information. You might notice this in your own memories. Certain events from long ago may feel slightly different each time you recall them. Details may blur. Some parts remain clear while others disappear. This is not necessarily a flaw in memory. Instead, it reflects the living nature of the mind. Memories are not frozen recordings. They are more like stories that the brain quietly edits over time. And the fading of some memories creates space for new experiences, new lessons, new moments worth remembering. Without forgetting, the mind would become crowded with the endless details of yesterday. But because the brain allows some memories to gently fade, it remains open to the present. And this quiet balance between remembering and forgetting is one of the reasons the mind works so beautifully. As the library of your life continues to grow, your brain carefully decides what to keep, what to reshape, and what to let drift away. Not in a dramatic way, but slowly, quietly, almost like pages being turned in the soft silence of a very large and ancient book. And as night approaches and sleep draws closer, the brain continues this quiet work, sorting memories, clearing space, preparing the mind for tomorrow's experiences. Because sometimes, forgetting is simply the mind's way of keeping the library of life calm, organized, and ready for the stories that have yet to be written. Now that we understand why the brain cannot keep everything, we can begin to explore something even more fascinating: the science of forgetting. At first glance, forgetting might seem like a weakness of the mind, a small failure in the brain's otherwise remarkable abilities. You might notice it when a name slips away, when a detail from yesterday disappears, or when a memory from years ago becomes soft and difficult to recall. But scientists have discovered that forgetting is not simply something that happens by accident. In many cases, forgetting is an active process. One of the earliest clues about this came from a curious observation made in the 19th century by a German psychologist named Hermann Ebbinghaus. Ebbinghaus spent years studying how memory changes over time. To do this, he performed careful experiments on himself, memorizing long lists of meaningless syllables and then testing how well he could remember them later. What he discovered became known as the forgetting curve. The forgetting curve describes how memories fade over time when they are not revisited or used. According to his observations, the brain forgets information surprisingly quickly at first. Soon after learning something new, a large portion of the details may begin to fade, but as time passes, the rate of forgetting slows. The memories that remain tend to become more stable. You can imagine it like footprints in soft sand near the ocean. At first, the footprints are clear, but waves slowly wash over them. The edges soften. Some prints disappear entirely. Others remain faintly visible. And the footprints that last the longest are often the ones that were pressed most deeply into the sand. Memories behave in a similar way. When a memory is first formed, the neural connections that support it are still delicate. They have not yet been reinforced by repetition or reflection. If the memory is never used again, those connections may gradually weaken. But when a memory is revisited, when you recall it, talk about it, or think about it, the connections grow stronger. The path through the forest becomes clearer, and the memory becomes easier to access. This leads us to another important process inside the brain, a process known as synaptic pruning. Synapses, as you may remember, are the tiny junctions where neurons communicate with one another. Every time you learn something new, certain synapses become more active. They strengthen their connections. But the brain does not keep every connection forever. Over time, connections that are rarely used begin to weaken. Eventually, some of them are removed altogether. This is synaptic pruning. It is the brain's way of refining its own networks. Imagine again a large garden. If every plant were allowed to grow without limit, the garden would soon become tangled and chaotic. Sunlight would struggle to reach the soil. Healthy plants would compete with unnecessary growth. So the gardener trims the branches, not to harm the garden, but to help it grow more clearly and efficiently. The brain behaves in much the same way. By removing weaker connections, it allows stronger pathways to stand out. This makes thinking faster, learning more efficient, and memory more organized. Interestingly, this process happens throughout life, but it is especially powerful during childhood and adolescence. During early development, the brain forms an enormous number of synaptic connections, more than it will eventually need. As children grow and interact with the world, the brain gradually removes unused connections while strengthening those that support important skills and experiences. In this way, the brain shapes itself according to how it is used. Skills that are practiced often, like language, music, or movement, build strong neural pathways. Skills that are rarely used may slowly fade. But pruning is not only about removing unused connections, it is also about maintaining balance within the brain. Neural networks must remain flexible. They must be able to adapt when new information appears. If every connection remained fixed forever, the brain would become rigid and inefficient. Learning something new would become far more difficult. So, forgetting becomes part of the brain's maintenance system, a quiet way of clearing space. And this maintenance continues even when we are not consciously thinking about it. Throughout the day, your brain is constantly adjusting its connections. Some synapses strengthen, others weaken, and during sleep, these processes become even more active. While your body rests, your brain continues sorting through the events of the day. Important memories may be reinforced. Less important details may be gently released. Researchers sometimes describe this as the brain tidying up its networks. Like a librarian reorganizing shelves after a busy day, books that belong together are placed side by side. Duplicate pages are removed. Space is cleared for tomorrow's stories. Let us pause for a moment and think about something curious. When you remember a moment from your past, what exactly is happening inside your mind? It might feel as if you are simply opening a small drawer somewhere in the brain, as if the memory had been carefully stored there, unchanged, waiting patiently for you to return. But scientists have discovered something far more interesting. Memories are not perfectly preserved recordings. They are not like photographs stored in a box. Instead, memories behave more like stories that the mind gently rewrites over time. Each time you remember something, the brain does not simply replay the past. It rebuilds the memory. This process is known as memory reconstruction. When a memory is first formed, the brain stores patterns of activity across many different regions. The sights of the moment may be stored in visual areas of the brain, the sounds in auditory regions, the emotions in areas linked to feeling and meaning. These pieces are connected through networks of neurons. But when you recall the memory later, the brain must gather those pieces again. It reactivates the neural pattern, and in doing so, it recreates the experience in your mind. But this recreation is not always perfect. Details may shift. Small elements may be added or lost, and the brain may quietly adjust the story. You might notice this if you think about a childhood memory. Perhaps you remember standing in a familiar room, a window letting in sunlight, someone speaking nearby. But if you asked another person who was present at the time, they might describe the moment slightly differently. Not because either of you are intentionally changing the story, but because memory itself is flexible. Each mind rebuilds the moment in its own way. Over time, this flexibility allows memories to evolve. The brain may emphasize certain parts of the story while softening others. Emotions may grow stronger or fade. The meaning of the event may change as your understanding of life changes. For example, something that felt confusing or frightening when you were young may later feel calm or even comforting when you look back at it as an adult. The memory has not remained frozen. It has been quietly reshaped by time. Scientists believe this process helps the brain integrate new knowledge with past experiences. Every time you remember something, the memory briefly becomes fragile again. Researchers sometimes call this stage reconsolidation. During reconsolidation, the memory is temporarily open to change before it is stored again. It is almost like taking a book off the shelf, editing a few pages, and then placing it back. This process helps the brain keep memories connected to your current understanding of the world. But it also explains why memories are not always perfectly reliable. Sometimes the brain fills in missing details. Sometimes it blends information from different moments. And occasionally, it can create memories that never actually happened. These are known as false memories. False memories do not usually appear suddenly or dramatically. Instead, they often form slowly. Perhaps someone tells a story about an event you were both present for. As you hear the details, your brain may begin to imagine the scene. You might picture the environment, the people, the emotions of the moment. And over time, that imagined picture can blend with your real memory of the event. Eventually, the mind may treat the imagined details as part of the original memory. This does not mean the brain is unreliable. In fact, it shows just how creative and flexible the memory system is. The brain's primary goal is not to create perfect recordings of the past. Its goal is to help you understand the present and prepare for the future. Sometimes that means simplifying the past. Sometimes it means reshaping it. Consider how often you revisit certain memories. A conversation with a friend, a trip you took many years ago, a moment that made you laugh or feel proud. Each time you recall that memory, the brain gently reconstructs it. And with each reconstruction, small changes may occur. Some details become clearer. Others fade away. Over time, the memory becomes less like the exact moment that once occurred and more like the story your mind tells about that moment. This is one reason memories can feel dreamlike. You may remember the feeling of an event more strongly than the precise details. The warmth of a summer afternoon, the excitement of discovering something new, the quiet comfort of being somewhere familiar. The emotional tone of the memory often remains even when specific details fade. In this way, memory becomes less about preserving the exact past and more about preserving meaning. The brain remembers what mattered, not always what happened exactly as it occurred. And this gentle reshaping of memories also helps the mind stay emotionally balanced. Painful experiences can soften with time. Embarrassing moments may eventually feel less intense. The brain slowly adjusts how those memories are stored, allowing them to become part of the story of your life without overwhelming the present. Of course, some memories remain vivid for many years. Events tied to strong emotion or repeated reflection may become deeply embedded in the brain's networks. But even these memories can shift slightly over time. The mind is always adapting, always weaving past experiences into a narrative that helps you move forward. If you think again about the library of the mind, memories are not static books sealed in glass cases. They are living manuscripts, stories that the brain revisits, edits, and reshapes as the years pass. And this quiet flexibility is one of the reasons human memory works so beautifully, because it allows the mind to remain creative, to reinterpret the past, to learn from experience while continuing to grow. And as we move deeper into tonight's exploration, we will soon discover that one of the most important moments for memory and for the gentle reshaping of memories arrives when the brain enters sleep, when the world grows quiet, and the mind begins its silent work in the darkness of night. As the day slowly comes to an end, something remarkable begins to happen inside your mind. Your body grows still. Your breathing becomes slower. The world around you quiets. And yet, inside your brain, an entirely different kind of activity is beginning. For a long time, scientists believed that sleep was simply a period of rest for the mind, a time when the brain shut down its work and recovered from the day. But modern research has revealed something far more fascinating. Sleep is not a time when the brain stops working. In many ways, it is when some of the brain's most delicate and important tasks begin. One of those tasks is the quiet management of memory. Throughout the day, your brain collects enormous amounts of information. Every conversation you hear, every place you visit, every face you see. These experiences leave small traces in the brain, patterns of neural activity that represent moments from the day. But at the end of the day, those patterns are still fragile. Many of them are incomplete. Some are noisy and disorganized. Others may not be important enough to keep. And this is where sleep begins to play a powerful role. While you sleep, the brain enters a process known as memory consolidation. Consolidation is the process through which the brain stabilizes and strengthens certain memories. It takes the experiences of the day and decides which ones should become part of long-term memory. Imagine again the library of the mind. During the day, new books arrive constantly. They pile up on desks and tables. Some are important stories. Others are small notes that will soon lose their meaning. Sleep is the moment when the librarian finally has time to organize everything. Books are sorted. Shelves are rearranged. Some pages are placed into permanent archives. Others are quietly removed. During the deeper stages of sleep, particularly a phase known as slow wave sleep, the brain begins replaying patterns of activity from earlier in the day. Neurons that fired together during waking experiences briefly fire again in similar patterns. It is almost as if the brain is rehearsing the day's events. A conversation, a task you learned, a place you visited. These patterns replay quietly in the background of the sleeping mind. And with each replay, certain neural connections grow stronger. The brain is reinforcing the pathways that represent useful knowledge. This process helps explain why sleep improves learning. If you study something new and then sleep, your brain continues processing that information during the night. By morning, the memory may feel clearer and easier to recall. But strengthening memories is only part of what sleep does. Equally important is the brain's ability to filter information, because not every experience from the day deserves a permanent place in memory. Many moments are small, repetitive, or unimportant. If the brain kept them all, the mind would quickly become cluttered. So during sleep, another subtle process takes place. Some neural connections are gently weakened. Details that were never reinforced begin to fade. Memories that lack meaning or relevance slowly dissolve. This process has sometimes been described as the brain cleaning its memory networks, not in a destructive way, but in a careful and selective one. Important memories become clearer. Unnecessary details are softened or removed. The result is a more organized mind, one that can think more clearly the next day. Researchers believe this balance between strengthening and weakening connections is essential for healthy cognition. Without it, the brain could become overloaded with information. Learning new things would become difficult. Attention would scatter across too many details. Instead, sleep creates space. It allows the mind to simplify the day's experiences and retain the lessons hidden within them. Another remarkable system becomes active during sleep as well. This system is sometimes called the glymphatic system. It functions like a cleaning network inside the brain. During waking hours, brain cells are busy communicating with each other. But during sleep, the spaces between those cells expand slightly. This allows fluids to flow more freely through the brain. These fluids help wash away waste products that accumulate during the day. In a way, the brain is performing both physical and informational cleaning at the same time, removing chemical waste and reorganizing the memories stored within its neural networks. This nightly maintenance is one reason why good sleep is so closely connected to memory and learning. When sleep is shortened or disrupted, the brain has less time to complete these processes. Memories may remain disorganized, concentration becomes more difficult, and the mind may feel foggy or overwhelmed. But when sleep is deep and uninterrupted, the brain performs its work smoothly. Memories settle into their proper places. Connections between neurons become balanced. The mind becomes clearer and more focused. Perhaps the most beautiful part of this process is how quietly it happens. You are not aware of it. You do not feel the neurons replaying their patterns. You do not hear the silent sorting of memories inside the sleeping brain. And yet it continues throughout the night. A gentle rhythm of strengthening, weakening, and organizing. By morning, the mind has changed slightly. Some memories are stronger. Some details have faded. The library of your life has been carefully rearranged. And this quiet nightly work is one of the reasons the mind remains flexible, creative, and capable of learning. Each night, sleep offers the brain a chance to restore order, to release what is unnecessary, and to preserve the memories that help guide you through the world. So as sleep approaches and the mind begins to slow, remember that rest is not only a pause from thinking, it is also the moment when the brain performs its most delicate and thoughtful work, sorting through the day, cleaning the shelves of memory, and preparing the mind for tomorrow's stories. When night arrives and your body begins to drift towards sleep, it may feel as though the mind is slowly shutting down. Your muscles relax. Your breathing becomes deeper. The outside world grows quieter. But inside the brain, something very different is happening. Far from becoming inactive, the brain enters a complex rhythm of activity that scientists sometimes describe as the mind's night shift. Throughout the night, your brain moves through several stages of sleep, each with its own pattern of neural activity. These stages repeat in gentle cycles, usually lasting around 90 minutes. With each cycle, the brain alternates between deeper and lighter forms of sleep, performing different kinds of work in each stage. One of the most important stages is known as slow wave sleep. During slow wave sleep, the electrical activity of the brain changes dramatically. If scientists observe the brain using instruments that measure electrical signals, they see large, slow waves moving across the cortex. These waves are slower than the patterns seen during waking life, which is why this stage is sometimes called deep sleep. During this phase, the brain begins one of its most important tasks. It quietly strengthens the memories that were formed during the day. Earlier, we spoke about how experiences create patterns of activity among neurons. During slow-wave sleep, many of those patterns are replayed. Neurons that fired together earlier in the day briefly activate again. The same pathways light up, almost as if the brain is revisiting the experience. This replay happens quietly and repeatedly. Each replay slightly strengthens the connections between neurons, and with each strengthening, the memory becomes more stable. Researchers studying this phenomenon have observed it in both animals and humans. For example, in experiments with sleeping animals, scientists have recorded neural activity in the hippocampus, the region of the brain deeply involved in forming memories. They discovered that patterns of activity associated with learning a maze during the day reappeared during sleep. It was as if the brain was rehearsing the journey again and again. This nighttime rehearsal helps transfer memories from temporary storage into more stable long-term networks across the brain. But deep sleep is not only about strengthening memories, it is also about maintaining balance within the brain's connections. Throughout the day, your neurons are constantly forming new synaptic connections. Every new piece of information creates subtle adjustments in these networks. If all of these connections continued growing stronger without limit, the brain would eventually become overloaded. To prevent this, sleep introduces a process that gently resets certain connections. Scientists sometimes refer to this as synaptic downscaling. During this process, some synapses, the communication points between neurons, are slightly weakened, not erased entirely, just softened. This allows the most important connections to remain strong, while unnecessary ones fade. You might imagine it like lowering the overall volume of many signals so that the most meaningful ones remain clear. In this way, sleep helps maintain the efficiency of the brain's networks. Connections that represent useful knowledge remain powerful. Connections that represent fleeting or unimportant details become quieter. This careful adjustment helps the brain remain ready to learn again the next day. Later in the sleep cycle, another fascinating stage begins. This stage is known as REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement. REM sleep is the stage most closely associated with dreaming. During this phase, your eyes move quickly beneath closed eyelids. The brain becomes highly active, sometimes showing patterns of activity that resemble those seen during waking life. But your body remains deeply relaxed. REM sleep plays a unique role in memory and emotional processing. While slow-wave sleep tends to strengthen factual memories, things you learned or studied, REM sleep often helps integrate emotional experiences. Memories connected to feelings may be reorganized during this stage. Events that carried emotional weight during the day are quietly processed. The brain may link them with older memories or reshape how they are stored. This is one reason why sleep can sometimes make difficult experiences feel more manageable the next day. During REM sleep, the mind may explore fragments of memories in the form of dreams. Dreams can blend people, places, and moments in unusual ways. Scenes may shift quickly. Stories may feel strange or symbolic. Yet beneath these dreamlike experiences, the brain is continuing its careful work, connecting ideas, reorganizing emotional memories, exploring patterns within the vast network of past experiences. And just as during slow-wave sleep, the brain continues its quiet maintenance. Synapses are adjusted, connections refined. The balance between remembering and forgetting is gently maintained. Throughout the night, These processes repeat again and again. Slow-wave sleep strengthens memories and clears unnecessary connections. REM sleep integrates emotions and explores associations between ideas. Together, these stages create a powerful cycle of mental restoration. By morning, the brain has reorganized the day's experiences. Important lessons are preserved. Unnecessary details have faded. The mind becomes clearer, more focused, ready to face the next day. And all of this happens without your awareness. While you sleep peacefully, your brain continues its quiet night shift, sorting memories, balancing neural connections, and preparing the mind for the countless new experiences that tomorrow will bring. It is one of the most delicate and remarkable rhythms of human life, a silent conversation between neurons that continues long after the world has fallen asleep. At first, the idea of forgetting can feel a little uncomfortable. We often think of memory as something precious, something we should try to protect and preserve. When a name slips away, or when a detail from the past becomes difficult to recall, it can feel like something valuable has been lost. But when scientists look closely at how the brain works, they often arrive at a very different conclusion. Forgetting is not simply a failure of memory. In many ways, it is one of the mind's most useful abilities, because without forgetting, the brain would quickly become overwhelmed by the endless flow of information that surrounds us every day. Imagine, for a moment, what it would feel like if you could perfectly remember every detail of every day of your life, every conversation you ever heard, every object you ever noticed in passing, every small event, no matter how unimportant. At first, this might sound like an incredible gift, but in reality, it would likely make thinking far more difficult. Your mind would constantly be filled with an enormous number of details competing for attention. Simple decisions could become complicated. Finding the relevant information among countless memories might feel like searching for a single book in an endlessly crowded library. Instead, the brain performs a quiet act of selection. It chooses what to keep and what to release. This process helps the mind remain focused. By allowing certain details to fade, the brain keeps its attention on the experiences that matter most. Think of it like clearing a desk. If every paper from every project remained scattered across the surface, it would be difficult to concentrate on the task in front of you. But when unnecessary papers are removed, the space becomes calm and usable again. The brain performs a similar function within its networks. Memories that are repeated, meaningful, or emotionally important are strengthened. Meanwhile, less relevant information gradually fades. And this quiet clearing of space helps sharpen your ability to focus. Another benefit of forgetting is that it allows the brain to make decisions more efficiently. Every decision you make relies on patterns stored within memory. The brain compares current situations with past experiences to guide your choices. But if every tiny detail from the past remained equally strong, decision-making could become slow and confusing. Too many possibilities would compete for attention. By allowing some memories to weaken, the brain simplifies the patterns it uses to understand the world. It highlights the experiences that truly matter, and this simplification allows you to respond quickly when faced with new situations. Forgetting also plays a surprising role in creativity. Creativity often depends on the brain's ability to combine ideas in new ways. When memories are too rigid or overly detailed, the mind may struggle to move beyond familiar patterns. But when certain details fade, the brain gains flexibility. It becomes easier to imagine new connections. Ideas from different experiences may blend together. Concepts may be reshaped into something original. In this sense, forgetting creates space for imagination. It loosens the grip of the past just enough to allow new possibilities to emerge. Researchers studying creativity sometimes describe this as the brain's ability to abstract experiences. Rather than remembering every exact detail, the brain retains the underlying meaning of events. For example, you may not remember every conversation you have ever had with a friend, but you remember the feeling of trust between you. You remember the kind of person they are. The brain preserves the pattern of the relationship rather than every specific moment. This ability to simplify experiences is incredibly useful. It allows the mind to build general knowledge from countless individual events. You may not remember every time you learn something new, but the lessons remain, the skills remain, the understanding remains. By letting go of unnecessary details, the brain captures the essence of experience. And this essence becomes the foundation of wisdom. Forgetting also protects the mind from becoming trapped in the past. Certain memories, especially painful or stressful ones, may slowly soften over time. The emotional intensity fades. The memory becomes less overwhelming. This does not erase the past, but it allows the mind to move forward without carrying the full weight of every difficult moment. In this way, forgetting supports emotional balance. It helps the mind maintain resilience. It gives space for new experiences to replace older worries. Even everyday moments benefit from this quiet process. You likely do not remember every meal you have ever eaten, or every step you took while walking through a city. And yet, your brain still understands how to walk, how to eat, how to navigate the world. The mind has extracted the essential knowledge while letting countless minor details fade. This efficiency allows your brain to function smoothly, to focus on what matters in the present moment. So the next time you notice a memory slipping away, it may simply be the mind performing one of its most helpful tasks, quietly clearing the shelves, reorganizing the library, making room for the next chapter of your life. Because the brain does not forget by accident, it forgets with purpose. And in that gentle fading of memories, the mind finds clarity, flexibility, and the freedom to continue learning. And as we move closer to the end of tonight's journey, we will soon explore a final question. Among all the memories that quietly drift away over time, which ones remain with us for a lifetime? As we have seen, many memories slowly fade with time. Details soften, moments blur, certain experiences quietly drift away, and yet some memories seem to remain with us for an entire lifetime. You might close your eyes and instantly remember the smell of a childhood home, the voice of someone important to you, the feeling of standing in a place that meant something special. These memories feel different from the countless small details that vanish over the years. They feel deeper, stronger, almost as if they've been written into the structure of the mind itself. Scientists have spent many years studying why certain memories remain so powerful while others fade away. And one of the most important reasons appears to be emotion. When something meaningful or emotionally intense happens, the brain pays very close attention. Earlier, we spoke about a small structure in the brain called the amygdala. The amygdala plays a key role in detecting emotional significance. When an event carries strong emotion, whether joy, excitement, fear, or surprise, the amygdala becomes highly active. And when it activates, it sends signals to other memory systems in the brain. In particular, it communicates with the hippocampus, the structure responsible for organizing new memories. Together, these two regions help strengthen the neural pathways associated with emotionally important experiences. In simple terms, emotion acts like a marker. It tells the brain, this moment matters, remember it. As a result, the neural connections representing that moment become stronger and more durable. This is why emotionally meaningful memories often remain vivid for many years. You may remember the details of an exciting event long after countless ordinary days have faded from memory. Even small details, the color of the sky, the sound of voices nearby may remain surprisingly clear. Emotion adds depth to memory. It presses the footprints deeper into the sand. Another type of memory that often lasts a lifetime is childhood memory. The early years of life are filled with powerful learning experiences. Everything is new. The world feels large and unfamiliar. And because the brain is still developing, these early experiences can leave strong impressions. Certain childhood memories may remain with you for decades. The first day of school, a family gathering, the feeling of discovering something for the first time. However, it is interesting that many memories from the earliest years of life are actually difficult to recall. Most people remember very little from the first few years of childhood. This phenomenon is sometimes called childhood amnesia. Scientists believe it occurs because the brain's memory systems are still developing during early life. The hippocampus and other memory structures continue maturing throughout childhood. As a result, many early experiences are not stored in the same way as later memories. But once the brain's memory systems become more stable, certain childhood experiences can remain deeply embedded in memory. And then there are memories that persist for another reason entirely. These are traumatic memories. Experiences involving extreme fear, danger, or emotional shock can create exceptionally strong memory traces. In these situations, the brain releases powerful stress hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol. These chemicals heighten awareness and prepare the body to respond to threat. At the same time, they strengthen the formation of memory. From an evolutionary perspective, this makes sense. If the brain remembers dangerous situations clearly, it may help avoid similar dangers in the future. The mind learns from the experience. It becomes better prepared. However, this same mechanism can sometimes make traumatic memories difficult to forget. The neural connections associated with the event become very strong. Certain details may return unexpectedly. Sounds, places, or images may trigger the memory even years later. For many people, these memories gradually soften with time, but they often remain more vivid than ordinary experiences. The brain, in its effort to protect us, sometimes preserves these memories with unusual clarity. Beyond emotion and trauma, repetition is another powerful force in shaping lasting memories. Experiences that are revisited again and again become deeply embedded in the brain's networks. For example, the language you speak, the skills you practice, and the knowledge you use frequently are reinforced over time. Each repetition strengthens the connections between neurons. Eventually, these patterns become so stable that recalling them feels almost effortless. Think of how easily you can remember your own name, or how naturally you recognize the faces of people you know well. These memories have been reinforced countless times. They have become permanent fixtures in the library of the mind. But perhaps the most interesting question is how the brain decides which memories deserve to stay. After all, we experience thousands of moments every week, yet only a small fraction remain with us for years. Researchers believe that the brain uses several signals to guide this decision. Emotion is one signal. Repetition is another. Attention also plays an important role. When you focus deeply on an experience, when you are truly present in a moment, the brain encodes the memory more strongly. But there is another subtle factor as well. Meaning. Experiences that connect to your personal story often remain longer than those that feel random or unimportant. Moments that shape your understanding of yourself, your relationships, your goals. These memories become woven into the narrative of your life. They help form your identity. And because they are part of that story, the brain holds on to them. In this way, memory is not only about recording the past, it is about understanding who you are. Each memory that remains is like a thread in a larger tapestry, a tapestry that continues growing and changing as life unfolds. Some threads fade, others remain bright and strong, but together they form the story of a life lived moment by moment. And as we approach the final part of tonight's exploration, we will look ahead to something even more fascinating: the future of your memories, how the mind continues reshaping them year after year as your story quietly unfolds. As we come closer to the end of tonight's quiet journey through the mind, it can be comforting to think about what lies ahead for the memories that live inside you. Because memory is not something that remains fixed in place. It is not a collection of frozen images stored permanently in the brain. Instead, memory is something living, something that moves and shifts slowly over the course of a lifetime. Every year that passes adds new pages to the story of your mind, new experiences, new people, new places. Some of these moments will leave deep impressions. Others will pass quietly through your life like clouds moving across the sky. And as these new memories arrive, the brain continues doing what it has always done: sorting, adjusting, reorganizing. The memories that once felt vivid and immediate slowly move farther into the past. Details soften, edges blur, small parts of the story may disappear. But something interesting happens as this fading occurs. Often, the emotional core of a memory remains. You may not remember every detail of a childhood day, but you remember how that time of life felt, the warmth of familiar places, the voices of people who mattered to you, the feeling of safety, curiosity, or wonder. In this way, the brain preserves the meaning of experiences even as the fine details gradually fade. It keeps the essence of a memory while allowing the rest to gently dissolve. Over the years, your memory becomes less like a collection of precise recordings and more like a story. A story your brain quietly continues to edit. Sometimes adding clarity, sometimes simplifying the past, sometimes softening difficult moments. This ability to reshape memories helps the mind remain flexible, because life is always changing. New knowledge appears, your understanding of events evolves, and the brain adapts by adjusting the way memories are organized. In this sense, the brain is a dynamic system. Its networks are never truly finished. Even in adulthood, neurons continue forming new connections. Old pathways may weaken. New patterns emerge as you learn and experience the world. Scientists often describe the brain as a structure that is constantly rewiring itself, a process known as neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity allows the mind to grow throughout life. It allows you to learn new skills, to adapt to new environments, to reinterpret the past with new understanding. And memory plays a central role in this process. Each memory contributes a small piece to the way you see the world, but the brain does not treat every memory equally. Some will remain clear for many years. Memories tied to strong emotion, repeated experiences, or meaningful events may stay with you for decades. The day you met someone important, a place that shaped your life, a moment when something changed in a meaningful way. These memories become anchors in the story of your life. They remain steady even as countless other details drift away. Meanwhile, many other memories quietly fade. The specific order of events from a random afternoon, the faces of strangers you passed on a busy street, small conversations that once seemed important but slowly lose their meaning. And this gentle fading is not something to fear. It is simply the mind keeping its balance, allowing space for new experiences to arrive, allowing the story of life to continue unfolding. Imagine again the library we spoke about earlier. Over the years, the shelves of that library grow larger. Some books remain in the center, frequently revisited. Others move slowly toward the edges. A few are eventually removed to make space for new stories. But the library itself never stops growing. It simply evolves. The memories that remain are not random. They are the ones that helped shape who you are, the ones that guided your choices, the ones that carried meaning. In this way, memory becomes less about preserving every moment exactly as it happened, and more about preserving the journey of a life, the lessons learned, the people encountered, the experiences that left their quiet mark on the mind. So the future of your memories will continue unfolding in this gentle rhythm. Some moments will remain bright, others will fade into the soft background of the past, but together they will form the living story of your life. A story that your brain continues to write, slowly, carefully, one experience at a time. And now, as the day settles into night and your mind grows quieter, those memories will begin their silent work once again, sorting, adjusting, making space for tomorrow's experiences. Because even while you sleep, the story of your mind continues to unfold. As we reach the end of tonight's quiet exploration, it may feel comforting to reflect on the gentle nature of memory itself. Throughout this journey, we have seen how the mind gathers experiences, shapes them into memories, and slowly weaves them into the story of a life. But we have also discovered something equally important. Not every memory needs to remain forever. The mind was never designed to hold every moment with perfect clarity. Instead, it was designed with balance. A balance between remembering and letting go. Each day, your brain collects thousands of small impressions, conversations, sounds, passing thoughts, tiny details from the ordinary rhythm of life. And during the quiet hours of rest, your mind gently sorts through them. Some memories become stronger, some are reshaped into understanding, and others drift softly away. This quiet fading is not a loss. It is a form of care. It allows the mind to remain calm and clear, to keep the memories that guide you, and to release the countless details that no longer need to stay. You might imagine the mind as a great tree. Each experience is a leaf growing on its branches. Through the seasons of life, some leaves remain bright and strong. Others slowly loosen and fall, drifting downward, returning quietly to the earth. But the tree itself continues to grow. New leaves appear, new seasons arrive, and the cycle continues. In the same way, your mind is always evolving. Memories are gathered, sorted, and gently rearranged. The important ones remain close. The others fade softly into the background of the past. And in this quiet process, the mind keeps its balance, making space for tomorrow's experiences, for new thoughts, for new moments that will one day become memories of their own. So tonight, as you begin to rest, there is no need to hold on to every thought that passes through your mind. Some thoughts will remain, others will drift away. Your brain already knows how to take care of them. It will sort them quietly while you sleep, strengthening what matters, letting go of what does not, and preparing the mind for another day. So now, let the day slowly fade. Allow your thoughts to settle like leaves drifting gently in the evening air. The world grows quieter. Your breathing becomes slow and steady, and the mind begins its peaceful work in the darkness of night. Good night. Sleep peacefully. Let your mind rest while your memories quietly settle into the night.